First of all guys, I posted 2 brand new episodes yesterday. Over in Anime King, I posted a brand new episode of What If Naruto Was the Ultimate Saiyan. So go ahead and check out that and enjoy guys. And over in Anime King, I posted a brand new episode of What If Naruto Was a Prodigy with an unknown bloodline. So go ahead and check out that guys and enjoy. And remember, if anyone is the first time hearing my voice, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all for helping and support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying and talking back to all of you. And yes, I did have 3 channels: Anime King 2, Anime King 3, which I post what you find every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all for helping and support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying and talking back to all of you. So yeah, let's begin this new episode. Start the intro. So the last time we left off, as Tsunade brought Naruto down to the Anbu base. As she brought him towards Teiwaya's room, who was still asleep as Tsunade snapped her awake. Hearing that she was at Uzumaki, Naruto vanished as he reappeared in front of her. He grabbed her face as he checked on her neck, as he saw the mark, as he told her that that mark will be removed soon. But just in case, he placed a seal on her. If she were to betray them, she would die. As Teiwaya started to panic. It's simple, she just doesn't betray them and she wouldn't die. So with that, Tsunade brought him to where Orochimaru was. The moment he saw him, Naruto went feral, as he started to tap into the power of the Kyuubi. As Tsunade spoke to him, she told him that she loved him. As Orochimaru tried to tell Naruto that she was using him, that he was nothing but a puppet, but he was speared through the leg by one of Naruto's tail, which caused him agony. Tsunade got out of there. She took Teiwaya as well. As Naruto didn't waste any time as he transformed, 9 tails flamed behind him in his version 2 cloak. As he released a Biju bomb, he destroyed the entire place, which was quite shocking given the fact that the place was created, that it wouldn't be destroyed because of all the seals, and yet he reduced it to rubble. As he came out, the Konoha ninjas started to flock towards Tsunade's position, as they all surrounded him. As he just stood there, Tsunade made her way towards him as she was able to calm him down, and he returned back to normal. As Naruto told her that she has to explain herself, as she told him that she will tonight. With that, he made his way towards Kakashi, as he teleported the man away with his Hiraishin, shocking everyone by the technique. As he went to speak to the man, when he returned home, him and Tsunade had a long talk. And just like that, he was off. Him and Tsunade talked about several things. He was off to retrieve Karin. As he went there, Orochimaru had Gurren watching over her. Arriving there, no one could stand in his path as Karin was afraid that she felt the overwhelming amount of power. Suigetsu tried to stand Naruto's way. Naruto split his head as Naruto realized he was reforming, so he used lightning to rip him apart, killing Suigetsu. Gurren tried to attack him, but he bodied her before crushing her on the ground. Her ambition is better serving him, not helping Orochimaru find eternal life or immortality. It was better if she joined him. Karin pleaded to her to stop fighting, because if she did not, she was gonna die. And Karin could feel it. There was nothing that Gurren could do against his boy. Nothing at all. So yeah guys, so basically as we left off, you guys can switch across the play sector for yourself. So this will begin this new episode. Gurren felt pathetic. This blonde teen that was literally drowning in power had dealt with her with so little effort. She was the strongest subordinate under Orochimaru, and yet he dealt with her like a Kage, fighting a mere genin, It was shameful, as tears started to form in the corner of her eyes. Weak, she was. Those words that Kabuto said to her was now resurfacing, and she loathed to accept them. Gurren had mocked his death at the hands of the slug Sannin, but was she any better? Defeated by this mere teenager, her pride as a kunoichi was being spat on, and it only made her angrier. Angry at herself, angry at Orochimaru for choosing another vessel. Was she not powerful for him? Had she not proven herself worthy? Rage started to form as she thought about it. How dare he thought otherwise? She was useful. She was always useful. As Naruto saw the anger rushing through her, he had been like that at one point, and it only made him stronger. This woman, she would be useful. Snatty may have other thoughts about it, but Naruto was sure that Gurren would grow under their employ. She had to. There was no other option now. Naruto relinquished his hold on her as Gurren's hand shut open and started to massage her windpipe. As Naruto got to his feet, the light from the broken wall where the light was peering in from the outside washed over him. It may be the fact that a moment ago she was starved of oxygen, or some other reason, but he looked like some god. A god amongst men. She shifted to one knee as he struggled to rise. She coughed several times as Naruto extended his hand towards her. She looked at it for several seconds before reaching out and grabbing it. As Naruto looked in her eyes, "I expect you to grow stronger." She rubbed her throat as her gaze started hardening. Good. She was motivated. His attention shifted towards Karen, who was watching the interaction with relief. "Come, we are leaving," he said, as she came over without any reluctance. As Naruto reached into his back pocket and pulled out a kunai, as Gurren was familiar with it. It seems like she never really had a chance to begin with, but it only made her more determined, so that she could prove to him that she was worthy of being spared. Her past mistakes mattered little. She had a new job and she would make sure that the blonde recognized it. Are you a Jinchuriki?" Karen's question made him turn to look towards her. "I hold the Kyuubi," said Naruto, as he placed his hand on Karen's shoulder as he continued. "And I am the strongest person in the Elemental Nation." The three of them disappeared in yellow flash. It was time to begin with his plan now. The first step was going to commence. Gathering remaining Jinchurikis was going to be a hefty task, but it will be done. The Bijous weren't toys though to be thrown around the villages. Taking them would result in a world war, and Naruto was prepared. Time skip. Where exactly are we going, Naruto-sama? Naruto resists the urge to sigh at Gurren's question. It wasn't that the question itself was annoying. It was the way that she chose to address him. "Just Naruto is acceptable, Gurren," he said. "I have done nothing to warrant such respect from you. But to answer your question, we're going to Konoha, main cemetery." As Gurren nodded as she debated if she could ask him another question. Years upon years of serving Orochimaru had made her realize that Toma's question was dangerous, and she didn't know the blonde that well, and frankly, she didn't necessarily want to either. He was terrifying as he was. Several moments passed in silence. "You're welcome to voice your concerns," said Naruto. "Anything I find acceptable, I will answer." She was quiet for several more seconds before answering. "Is there a particular reason why we're doing this?" As Naruto placed his hands in his pockets before replying. "You could call it petty revenge." As Gurren raised an eyebrow at that, as she wondered what would be an act of petty revenge by going to a cemetery, vandalizing an old grave didn't really fit his personality, but at the same time, she didn't know what was going through Naruto's head either. "I will assume that you were someone that was betrayed by someone that you love, or left alone to fend for yourself." Her gaze hardened as she did not speak, as Naruto continued. Orochimaru was an intelligent individual, but he did not earn loyalty from his underlings. It was either do as he say or die. Of course, there was a rare few that believed in him and his ideal, but I'm going off topic. As Naruto opened the metal gate, Teiwaya, Karen, Jugo, Kabuto, and even you were all victims of consequences. What did Orochimaru actually do for you? Give you power, a place for you to sleep. Thoughts popped up in Gurren's head as Naruto scoffed. You didn't have a choice. Teiwaya would have starved to death. Karen would have continued to be used by her people until she died of chakra exhaustion. Drobo would have been executed in his village for stealing food. Kabuto would have been killed by Hiruzen. And you wanted acknowledgement from anyone that was willing to give you it. As Guren's fist clenched as she heard that. You don't know anything about me, she said, as he eyed her from the corner of his eye. No, I don't. But I know enough. That look in your eye. It reminded me of myself when I was younger. The hunger for attention and acknowledgement. He came to a stop before turning, as he looked directly into her eyes. You were left alone, betrayed by someone that you thought that loved you, unconditionally. She took a small step backwards as she looked into his blue gaze. Painful memories flashing through her mind with each word that he spoke. It caused you unbearable pain, and in your isolation that pain grew into nothing but anger. You used this anger to better yourself. It made you stronger, it pushed you past your limits, and it helped you. But as Nur took a step closer as Guren was now visibly shaking, when you got strong enough to take revenge on the person, they were either already dead or unreachable. I would assume it's the former, said Naruto. As he took another step forward, she backed up right into the metal gate. She turned her head as his hand reached out and gripped her chin, and turned her gaze back towards him. You were lost, and the rage and anger disappeared. When that happened, you wanted anyone to acknowledge you for your power and your strength. In doing so, Orochimaru took advantage of you. So, let me ask you this simple question, Guren, he said, as he let go of her chin, as he placed a hand right on her chest. If you had the ability to take revenge on the one person that hurt you so long ago, would you do so? As Naruto looked into her gaze, he broke her down, as tears came in the corner of her eyes, as her body trembled, as she started to sob. Her eyes clenched shut as tears started to stream down her face. Years upon years of pent-up pain, anger surfacing all at once, as she collapsed towards her knees, crying. As Naruto kneeled down and placed his arms around her, Guren held on to him as she lashed out, holding on to him tight like her life depended on it. As Naruto looked towards her awkwardly, as he gently rubbed her back, his gaze looked up towards the sky, as he gave a soft sigh. Perhaps he shouldn't have pushed her so far. He always seemed to forget that people were different from him, and reacted differently to certain things. But at least one good thing came out of this. Guren's loyalty would never be questioned again. Time skip. I apologize for my reaction, Naruto-sama. As Naruto sighed, like I said the other 4 times, Guren, it's fine. He didn't even bother to correct the Sama, as she would do it whether or not he said anything about it. As Naruto opened the metal gate as they were finished what they came here to do. It's time that you met Auntie Tsunade. She's unaware of the alterations I made regarding you. My permitters were to kill you and bring Karen back to Konoha. Guren nodded her head as she kept in a single pace behind her new master. She remembered many stories that Orochimaru would say that regarding Slug Sanin, most of them was as fierce as they come. The woman was powerful, and she dealt with things that annoyed her. It was safe to say that Guren was a bit anxious upon meeting the woman. For all Tsunade knew, she wasn't supposed to be alive. As they walked, Guren noticed the people making a wide berth for them, villagers and even shinobi moving out of the way for them. It reminded her of these when she walked with Orochimaru through his lairs. People feared the man due to his sadistic nature, but with Naruto, as she glanced at him at the corner of her eye, he ignored everything around him. The people fear him because of his power and what he contained. It must have been a scary thought for so many people that one individual could decide your future if he chose to. They continued their journey unbothered as they reached Hokage's tower. As Naruto ignored all the stares as he made his way towards Tsunade's office, as they ignored the receptionist and went inside. As Naruto heard some conversations, he simply pushed the door open and stepped inside, as Guren walked behind him. As Naruto blinked at the small group of women in the room, his eyes landed on Tsunade, who gave him a soft smile, a bit of a teasing smile. As his gaze turned towards Nico, who was standing on Tsunade's right, as he nodded his greeting towards the woman, he then shifted his gaze towards Shizune at her small desk, As she gave him a small wave with a smile, as he returned the gesture with a nod. He then focused on the last woman in the office. His eyes narrowed. It's been a while, Naruto. His hands started to curl inside his pockets. Far too soon if you ask me, Sakura. The tension started to change in the room as the two former teammates stared at one another. As Sakura crossed her arms, you've changed little, I'm not surprised. As Naruto turned his attention, ignoring her, as he looked towards Tsunade, the mission is complete. I brought her back unharmed like you asked. Thank you, Naruto-kun, said Tsunade. Gurren could feel the tension someone was not supposed to be in here, and she could guess who it was. I'll bring her to the compound. As Naruto shifted on his feet, Sakura had to speak up though. 3 years, and you still haven't apologized. His back was turned to her. Gurren watches Naruto's eyes change as they turn red, with slits in them. I don't owe you anything. As a matter of fact, I don't owe anyone in this village a single thing. A pressure started settling in the room. We were a team, Naruto, said Sakura. She clenched her fists in frustration. Naruto shook his head. Team 7 was a dysfunctional disaster. You were obsessed with a girl, with an unhealthy obsession for a traumatized boy who'd rather kill his closest comrades for power. As Naruto's eyes snapped towards her, you and Sasuke were unfit to be shinobis, but of course Hiruzen, with his infinite wisdom, made us a team. I did not have an unhealthy obsession with Sasuke. Sakura scowled. You act like we were the only problem on the team, she said. Because you were, said Naruto. Team 7 shouldn't have been formed to begin with. Sasuke's betrayal and death are all the proof needed. Well, you sure as well didn't help in that regard. We were supposed to rely on one another, she said. But you pushed us to the side like we were trash. Everything was always about you, wasn't it? Naruto shook his head. You are as naive as you are useless, he said. Grow up, Sakura. We aren't kids anymore. Sasuke becoming a shinobi was a mistake, and you are not prepared to be one. Blaming everyone else for your shortcomings is disgraceful. The fact that you're still a shinobi surprised me. Give up while you're still alive. As Naruto simply left, as Gurren stood there unsure what to do. As he was angry, really angry, but Tsunade spoke up. You are Gurren, I presume. Gurren swallowed as she nodded. Tsunade nodded back. We will speak later. Gurren then turned her gaze towards Sakura. I don't know who you are, but I'll tell you this only once. Stay away from Naruto-sama. Sakura blinked. Who the hell do you think you are to tell me that? You don't tell me what to do. I can, I will, and I just did. You will stay away from him, or I will make you, even if I have to break you to make you understand that. As she left, she was not making a threat. It was a promise. The room was baffled at what just happened. Sakura was surprised that some random woman had just threatened her. Who the hell did that bitch think she was? Well, that was amusing, said Tsunade. Nico, I'm done for the day. I need to speak with Naruto. You know what to do while I'm gone. As Tsunade rose from her seat. Come, Shizune. Sakura frowned at how easygoing Tsunade was being. You're just gonna let that woman threaten one of your shinobis. You're a kunoichi, said Tsunade. Solve your problem with your fists. I'm not your mother. As she placed a hand on Shizune's shoulder and disappeared in the sunshine, as Sakura frowned. Meanwhile, as Gurren followed Naruto as they walked on the market district. Bad blood between you two. I never lie when I speak, said Naruto. What I said about her is true. She may claim to think otherwise, but it is irrelevant. I don't give a damn about her. Nor do I care for this village. I don't wear Konoha headband for a reason. Gurren gazed scour over his body. He wasn't lying. There was no way to identify what village he was from when out on missions. He was practically spitting on this village. Due to these actions, many of the higher-ups must be angry about this. It's a rather bold statement. I'm a petty person, said Naruto. This village has done nothing for me. I was spiked just for existing. I would spit on the Hokage's decks if Auntie Tsunade wasn't a Hokage. Is she really your aunt? Asked Gurren. No, said Naruto. But she's part Uzumaki. I call her aunt because that is what she wants to be called. As Naruto placed his foot out and stopped the cart that almost ran into him as he kicked it back, as it hit in the man's stomach, but he simply continued to walk. My sensei believe it's a fetish of hers. Gorin raised an eyebrow and she almost stumbled over. The strongest woman in the elemental nation has a incest fetish? That's not true, right? As Naruto went quiet for a few seconds until he spoke. I don't necessarily disagree with this assessment anymore. Tsunade and I are not even closely related. My mother was not even from the royal branch of the Uzumaki. The fact that she wished for me to address her as aunt just adds more evidence to this. As Naruto glanced towards Gorin, it seemed like her world had been turned upside down. He couldn't really blame her. He never asked why Tsunade wanted to be addressed as his aunt. The fact that he was now aware of her feelings towards him, and vice versa. It seems that Jiraiya was aware of some women and their kinks. He would never tell the man that though. His ego was far too large. Keep it to yourself, said Naruto. She would kill you instantly, and I'd rather see return on investments that I made. I wasn't planning on saying anything, said Gorin, as they continued in silence, making their way towards Senju compound. As he placed his hand on the gate, as he pushed Chakra into it, several seals came out before unlocking. As he stepped inside, as Gorin followed, he bit his finger and wiped on the door. As the seals glowed brightly before he opened the door, gesturing for her to come in. Gorin glanced as she saw several pictures hanging from the walls and tables. Other than a few pictures and a piece of art here and there wasn't much else. They made several turns and twists through the rather large home. The place was ridiculously large. Seals are incredible things. She was pulled from her thoughts by his question. You mean? Naruto nodded. The main home of the compound is only 2,500 square foot. But we've been walking for several minutes. Fuinjutsu is limited by only your imagination. Gorin's perspective changed entirely as she looked around in wonder. As they arrived towards the main room, they saw Tsunade sitting down, with a cup of tea and book in her hand. Shizune was on the couch reading through a rather large scroll. As Naruto stepped in the room, gathering the attention of the woman, who smiled at him. Ah, Naruto-kun, what took you so long? As Naruto started to walk towards her, her honey brown eyes were focused on him the entire time. Upon reaching her, he lifted her legs, as he sat down before placing her legs back down, on top of his lap. As he sighed as he leaned into the couch, Gorin wished to experience the glories of Konoha. He said in a rather sarcastic tone, as Tsunade raised her eyebrow and she looked towards Gorin, who was standing there rather awkwardly. She placed her book down on the table as she glanced towards Gorin. She gestured for Gorin to come and sit down to the seat that was a few feet away from the couch. Make yourself at home, Gorin. I'm sure that you'll both be explaining how exactly you're alive. I remember specifically stating kill Orochimaru number 2 and bring Karen back. So, be my guest, she said. Her smile made Gorin nervous. As Naruto reached and pinched her thigh. Gorin will be useful in our plans moving forward, said Naruto. She shook her leg. Gorin, sit, said Naruto. Gorin made her way towards the seat. As she sat down, Tsunade looked at her for several minutes. As Gorin looked at her without turning away. Be mindful of your position from now on, Gorin. You're only alive because of Naruto. Do what you're told, when you're told. And there will be little for you to worry about, said Tsunade, her tone laced with killing intent. As Gorin nodded, Shizune, be a dear and fetch Teiwaya and Karen for me. As Shizune got up and went for the two girls. Was all that necessary, said Naruto. Yes, because you seem to be far too lenient when it comes to powerful women. Where you gain this knowledge is beyond me, said Naruto. Tsunade raised a hand as she list off. Mei Terumi, Fuka, Uzumaki, Fu, Yujito. Should I continue? She smiled in amusement as he ignored her list entirely. If I didn't know any better, I would say that you have a type, Naruto-kun. As Naruto finally opened his eyes had been closed the entire time. He shrugged. A violent, powerful woman are my weakness. Tsunade grinned as she shifted her position on the couch. As she leaned her upper body towards him, she ignored the tension from him and placed her index finger on his chin. She leaned towards him as her lip grazed his ear. I am the strongest woman in the entire elemental nation, she said. And, quite possibly, the most violent. As she turned her head, her lips was inches away from him. Wouldn't you agree, Naruto-kun, she said. As Naruto looked down towards her lips, as his heartbeat started to increase a bit. You know, if you two are just gonna screw, we should come back later. As Tsunade's eye twitched at that. If you were another person, your spine would have been twisted in several directions by now. Yeah, but you love me, said Teiwaya as she stepped inside. As Tsunade gave her a blank stare. Teiwaya, Please don't antagonize her any further. As Nelly glanced towards Karen, you should listen to Karen before I put you through one of these walls. As Nelly's hand reached over Naruto's shoulder as she gently pulled him closer. Come, sit, she said. We have things to discuss regarding how we have been rebuilding Uzu. Karen furrowed her eyebrows in confusion as Teiwaya nodded her head. As Teiwaya pulled Karen with her as she headed towards the other couch. Should I, leave? Said Gorin. I'm not exactly family here. As she was slightly surprised by the interaction between the two a moment ago, but it wasn't her place to say anything. What they did in her private life was between them. She was here to gain strength and be at use to Naruto. Stay, said Naruto. If you're gonna assist me in my goals, you need to hear this. Gorin nodded the answer as she sat straighter in her seat. Didn't Uzu get destroyed? Said Karen. You are correct, said Naruto. Kiri, the stone and Kumo, indeed, invade Uzu and destroyed it. While they were successful in their goal, they lost more than they gained. How so? Said Karen, as she adjusted her glasses. Uzu is protected by hundreds of thousands of seals. Anything still intact, only those with Uzumaki blood can access it. Meaning, said Naruto as he trailed off, Karen immediately understanding the statement. Well, what do you mean when you say that you're rebuilding? I imagine there's a lot of work, or at least it will be. Tsunade smiled at the statement. Well, it would be, but we have a Jinchuriki with nearly infinite chakra, and who know the Shadow Clone Jutsu. Before, I was even aware of Tsunade's plans, said Naruto, speaking after her. I was sending clone to Uzu to restore it. Almost 2 years of non-stop working has done wonders for the island. Wait, you mean that you weren't even aware of Tsunade's plans regarding Uzu? Were you two acting independently from one another? Said Karen. Precisely. Auntie Tsunade and I have different goals, but our endgame is the same. For the better part of 3 years, she has been manipulating circumstances between villages to spark a cold war. I'm now aware that Juri and I was sent to Kiri to gain favor with Mei Terumi, who is now the leader of Kiri. It was the first true test of my power at the time. Kiri and the San are in Konoha back pocket due to my actions of being a Konoha shinobi. But I always had a goal that I was going to achieve. My original goal was to build Uzu up and restore it back to its former glory. I'm sensing a butt here, said Teiwaya, as Naruto shifted in seat. I'm going to be taking away the Bijutsu from the Elemental Nation. The group of women except for Tsunade blinked in shock at the statement. He was going to take away the Bijutsu? The Bijutsu are not just toys for the Elemental Nation to throw at one another when they're having a feud. This world doesn't understand the meaning of what it means to be a Jinchuriki except for a Jinchuriki. None of you will ever understand the pain of carrying this burden, and I will make sure that you stay that way. Regardless if the world agree or not, I'm doing it. The major villages are more than welcome to stop me. The group was silent after his declaration. At what he just said, he was going to be taking away the Bijutsu from the villages. This had so many consequences. The villages would be really pissed off, frothing at the mouth for their Bijutsu. How are you going to take all of them? Said Gorin, as Naruto reached in his pocket and pulled out 3 from kunai. I have several of them marked already. The only ones that are not marked are the stone Jinchurikis and the Hakusebi. But Tsunade is going to change that by igniting the next war. Tsunade smiled. She shifted her body closer to Naruto. I will be sending a statement to Oniki, she said. A rather bloody one to be exact. He's testing the boundaries of the sand by sending a small contingency of shinobis at their borders. And I am going to annihilate the entire army by myself. It will send a clear message to Oniki. The room went silent after her statement. She was basically starting a war. For the hell of it. Isn't that a bit extreme? Said Karen, as she looked toward the 2 blondes who were so close. They were almost cuddling on the couch. Truthfully, yes. But Naruto has proven to be far stronger than I initially assumed. Truth be told, he can demolish each of the nations by himself. While it is not entirely practical, it's an option that we have. The major villages has spent far too long bullying other smaller villages and sparking wars, taking verbal threats seriously. We will make them act. Violence, bring violence. It only takes one major blow to truly open their eyes. Minato did it once before, and now Naruto will do so as well. Naruto curled his nose to her statement. Father did it because he believed the original reason for the war was foolish. If the major villages wish to test my might, then I will show them why I claim to be the strongest in the elemental nation. They cast their own thing that stand between my true goal. We have dwindled away their numbers, and the last will be crushed very soon. I do hope the Rinnegan user though is stronger than I think, because they have been such disappointments. Well shit, said Teiwaya, summing up what everyone think. Karen did not understand how could these two be so confident and talk so casually. They were talking about starting a fort, great shinobi war, yet they were so calm. Gorin shifted in her seat as she narrowed her eyes. There were so many other variables, so many ways this could go wrong. But yet these two didn't seem like the type of people to do something on a whim. Evidenced by Naruto's statement when addressing his original goal for Uza. He had been planning this for quite some time, and Tsunade has been manipulating things behind the scenes. How many people do you have supporting your goals? As Naruto opened his eyes, he had the habit of just closing them. There are actually many Uzumakis that are still alive. They're currently residing in Uza as we speak. It is not that many, but they do exist. But numbers matter little when it comes to the Uzumakis. They were unprepared for the invasion. They hold them off for 5 days. Every Uzumaki that fell took 5 enemies with them, and the rest of them flee. They spread across elemental nations. I have restored their hope, I have restored their faith, and I will lead them to a new future, whether or not the major villages follow. It means little to me. I will crush them, just as they did Uza. Tsunade smiled. She rested her head on his neck. Hearing you speak like that makes me excited. Teiwaya groaned. If you try any harder, you will be riding him already. Tsunade scoffed. If I had it my way, yes, I would already be riding him. You're just jealous because you don't have a man that would pin you up against that Naruto to cover her mouth. There was actually a small blush on his face. Images, assault in his mind. Please stop, he said. Such things shouldn't be said in public. She was smiling under his hand. Teiwaya scoffed. I don't even know where to put his thing. As Naruto looked towards her, I'm emotionally indent, not stupid. I'm aware of how sex works, he said. Oh, are you now, she said, as Naruto sighed at the subject. Why were these Uzumaki women so annoying? Karen and Gorin watched on, as Naruto was rather annoyed. Enough. We have things to do. As he glanced towards Tsunade, where's Fuka, he said. Well, she's making sure that things are going smoothly in Uza. I didn't want to risk the chance of people seeing her in Konoha and thinking that your mother got somehow resurrected from the grave. As Naruto nodded, Gorin, since you were Orochimaru's right hand, and you know the ins and out of the village, you be leading the village. Kill anyone who disagree with you. I have no need for stragglers. While you're at it, train Teiwaya as brutal as you can. He ignored the girl's scowl as he continued. Karen, go familiarize yourself with Shizune. She will tell you the role you will play. Understood? They all nodded, Teiwaya reluctantly doing so. They took that as their dismissal. As they started to leave the two blondes alone, a minute passed by Tsunade's hands, wrapped up from behind him, came on his abdomen. As she started to sway from side to side with him in her arms, as her fingers started to slowly unbutton his shirt, exposing his well-toned stomach, exposing his rock-hard pecs. As her hand trailed along his six-pack, her finger trailed higher, she started to undo the remaining buttons, as Naruto allowed the shirt to slip off his sleeve. As Tsunade moved away with her foot, her fingers started to trail along his hard muscles, as she planted light kisses across his back. You know, she said, as she placed another kiss, I've waited so long. The fact that you haven't turned me away means you want this as much as I do. Her hand reached down toward his pants as he grabbed her wrist. I will not deny that statement, but as she waited for him to speak, she was not upset that he stopped her from going forward. She had a feeling why he stopped it, but she wanted to hear it from him. I would prefer to move slowly. I do not understand the finer details of what it means to love someone, so I would rather not rush into something like this. I am attracted to you, and when you're around me, I feel lighter. I'm not even sure that I'm expressing this correctly. I hope I have not angered you, he said. Naruto, she said, look at me. As she turned his face with her hand. I'm not angry at all, she said as she looked at him. I know that this is new to you, and everything that will follow will be confusing. But I'm here for you. I will teach you these things, just as I have before. There is no secret I want you to be mine, she said. But I can wait until day that you are truly comfortable. Whatever feel most comfortable to you is fine, she said. as there was nothing but love in her eyes. She giggled because his hand wrapped around her as he pulled her in closer. Their lips touched as he tried to mimic her own actions, and she was guiding him along the way. As Nettie leaned into the touch, it was remarkable. She has been waiting for this for a long time now, and it was worth it. It was worth it, 100%. As she started to pull away, but he pulled her back, as she just leaned back into it. I could get used to this, she thought to herself. Time skip. Just keep running. Just keep running. No matter how much her body hurt, she continued to move. The distance was irrelevant. The destination, it did not matter. All she knew was that she had to run. Her mind kept on replaying what she had been through. Oh, Kami, how could she be so stupid? She blew the entire village up, all of those life, gone. And what for? No. It was the best. It was for the best. Nagato had changed. Her ankle snagged on a loose limb as she tumbled right through the mud. Konan released a grunt of annoyance as she pushed herself up with some effort. Her vision was swimming as she was on the edge of unconsciousness. Her teeth gnashing together as she pulled herself fully up and started to move once again. It was futile though, she knew it. Toby and Zetsu were searching for her. She had been far too hasty in her retreat after nuking the hidden rain. Her eyes looked down towards the dirty scroll that was in her left hand. The body of Nagato was sealed inside. She couldn't let them have it. She would mourn her best friend's death later. But now she had to run. How long has she been running? Days? Weeks? She didn't know. When was the last time she ate? She must be suffering from chakra exhaustion. Her jutsu had damaged her chakra coil severely, and without a proper medicine, she would never recover. But it mattered far little to her. The Rinnegan was too important to the Akatsuki plans. Then, destroy them. As just thinking about destroying them made her nauseous. To think that so much power was being held in a tiny piece of paper. Her anxiety was over the edge. Stop. Calm down. Breathe, Konan, she thought to herself. As she rested her back against a large tree, she was just so tired. So very tired. Maybe, just a little rest. It wouldn't hurt, she thought to herself. Her back slid down the tree as she started curling on herself. Her eyes shot open as four masked shinobis flashed around her. She cursed as she sensed her chakra levels. All of them were Jonin. Not even that. High-level Jonin. And the state that she was in. As she saw this strange mask over their faces. As there was a symbol on it. A sword-like pattern that spread from the center going out. The design was so familiar. Two of them were females. They had long, curly, crimson hair. As one of them was extremely tall, she towered over her subordinates by at least 1.5 feet. She must have been the same height as Kisame, possibly even taller. Red hair with a swirl symbol. Wait, could it be? One of the men spoke as he rested his hand in his katana. Does her cloak seem familiar to you three as well? He said. The tall woman who Konan presumed was their leader spoke. She does indeed possess the cloak of the Akatsuki. The woman crouched down and looked at her. But yet she was still so tall, it was just crazy. The king of Uzu ordered us to avoid any contact with their little mercenary group, but will state your aim. Yan, kill her. The individual known as Yan dropped down from a tree. The man dropped and looked at her. For what it is worth, Kunoichi-san, I'm truly sorry I have to do this. It filled me with great sorrow knowing that I have to end the life of my foe, that I can barely fight back. It truly stains my honor. But for the survival of Uzu, it must be done. He started to unsheath his katana. As he stepped forward, tears started forming Konan's eyes. She glanced at the scroll that was in her palm. As her knees folded towards her chest, she truly was gonna die. As she looked up towards the man, his katana now fully exposed. But guys, be in subscribe right here for anything Spartan. Do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on my bell notifications I posted. But I'm off for now. See you guys soon. Peace.